So here I am at Rooster Rock State Park, and this is my kind of crowd here, like nobody. And this is just a fraction of the parking here. So here's the launch. It's a single dock launch, but it's, you know, it's a nice spot, nice and sheltered. I haven't been out here in probably a couple of years. So I motored down, run the Honda through this slough, and it's probably about a quarter mile. I will be heading to wind, which is probably good. And there's nobody here. Broad reach down. This wind out here is wonderful. It's not gusty. I'm just checking out the volume. So just a wonderful steady breeze out here right now. It's kind of a southwest rather than straight west. So I am sailing across the Columbia River to the Oregon side, just a little bit west of Rooster Rock. And there's the big expanse out there. I'm going to make a broad reach down that. I'm just feeling out the wind. I like to sail the wind when I first come out, you know, at least on a close reach, and get a feel for the wind rather than take off downwind, you know, and sometimes you don't really realize how much wind there is when you're sailing down. I mean, you do in some sense, you're going fast and all that, but I've many of the time been sailing downwind and didn't think it was much until I turned to come back and beat back upwind. So I like to do my initial, I'm just out day sailing, do my initial kind of sail, first 25 minutes maybe, and get a feel for the wind. Sailing closer to the wind and tapping. Yes. I have many a time stopped when I'm driving up I-84. I've stopped at this rest stop here to look out over this piece of water. And, you know, I always wish I was out there in the sailboat. Well, today I am. And in winter, this can really blow in here. Windsurfers launch down. There's a bit of a beach down the way, and they launch there. I don't see any out today. But I've always liked stopping there and looking out over this. Across down the way is Cape Horn, known as Cape Horn on the Columbia. I am standing up to scope out the water depth in here. I believe I've got plenty. The channel's on the other side, on the Oregon side, and then on the Washington side, this is a slough more or less, but this is definitely an island here. I'm trying to remember that Cottonwood Island or something. So anyway, I'm going to try to, I may circumnavigate this island. That sounds very grandiose. It's a couple miles long, maybe. Yeah. That's what I like about the Buccaneer is even when you're just out day sailing and you're not really trimming your sails that great, you're just kind of taking it easy, it still moves fairly well without that much effort. And you know, my friend Steve, he's really into sports cars, and he said once it's a lot more fun to drive a slow car fast than it is to drive a fast car slow. So in other words, like, you know, if you have a Ferrari and you're in, you know, you're on a highway that the fastest you can go is 55 and you want to stay within the law, it's not that fun, you know, you can't. But as far as it relates to boats, you know, the way I see it is, you know, the Buccaneer has a lot of sail area, and it's, you know, it can be a bit to manage solo, but, you know, you can always reef it, and you've got that waterline length and the hull shape and all that to still go fast. So I guess the way I see it is you can always make a fast boat go slower, but you really can't make a slow boat go fast. I mean, you can sail to its rating, and that's awesome. But if it's really a dog, you know, like it's over 200 PHRF, or, you know, if it's Portsmouth, if it's, you know, if it's above 100 and, you know, 20 or something, or, then it's just, you can't make a really slow boat go fast. You can always make a fast boat go slow and make it manageable. So I'd always like to default to having the option of speed. So that's another case for having something that's a little bit more performance oriented, rather than be stuck with, you know, real steady, you know, a good heavy boat, but, you know, the sail area's, you know, not very good for the weight. It's all in what you want. It's all whatever you want, but I prefer to have more sail area and lighter boat and performance type hull than a heavy boat. Keel boats aside, I'm talking dinghies, and probably keel boats as well, actually, depending on where you're sailing. So I must say, I do wish I would have rigged my spinnaker this day. I should have known that midday it'd drop off, so that would have been nice. But anyway, I wanted to check out my Jiffy whisker pole here that's telescopic, that I just, you know, poke the end through the grommet there and clip it on with no lift. I have a lift for my spinnaker pole, and of course my other whisker pole, which is a little bit too long. That's the problem with it. This one I can adjust it, and in fact I'm gonna kind of lock that right there and probably cut my other whisker pole that has the lift on it to this length here. So anyway, still nice. This tug pushing the barge just went around the corner of Cape Horn, or just went by it rather. That rounded point there is where the cliffs begin, and they wrap around to the north, and there's a small sort of a bay of sorts in there, what would be around the cliff face on the left side of the frame, between my bow and the shroud right now. Making my way down, there's Beacon Rock, a little bit closer now. There's also a sailboat out on the water. Can't identify him, he's too far off. I caught some fresh breeze going back up, which is nice. I'm just sailing away from Cape Horn right now. Cape Horn is just a nice cliff on the Columbia River, very close to Multnomah Falls. Just ghosting along here and like no breeze. I mean, there's breeze, but I try to make it to this wind line up here, but I think by the time I get to there, I'll be running aground. I think I see breeze ahead. And this also, I can see the depth really easy here. See how I'm doing on depth, which is nice. And I'll just go to the other side real quick and tack away if I need to. So I'm already getting some pressure now. And I might have to move to center. There, I just moved to the center of the boat, kind of kneeling. Still looking at my depth. Probably feeling a little bit more than I need, but it's really light. And I just want to keep my sails full in this light breeze. Actually moving pretty good, considering how light it is. I'm sitting at the very back of the Buccaneer right now. I had to clear a little bit of fan weed off my rudder. I felt a little bit of tremble in the rudder, and I went back, and sure enough, there was a strand that was trailing off. It's not too bad out here right now, the fan weed, millweed, whatever it is. I'm afraid it's going to get worse for summer though. Yeah, this is lovely right now. Approach the dock now.